everybody. We are just working on getting our runners set up for Game 2. My name is Autumn Out of Habit. I will be taking over on commentary here alongside Great Pikmin. And we will be getting our races underway in just a couple minutes here.
Yeah, Polonaise. And we're off.
We are off, and let's go ahead and give our viewers a refresher, especially those of us who are joining from SpeedGaming 2. This is Game 2 of the winners' semifinals between Herculesbenchpress and Reseren in a best-of-3 series. Herc took the first game just here prior on this, and we are going through Game 2. This is a double elimination bracket, so the loser of this matchup will go into the lower bracket and not have an opponent for a couple of weeks here. A winner will be going on to the winners' finals to play against Lenovis, and they are making their way up to the operation deck to find one of Speed Booster, Morph Ball, or Main Missiles. Pikmin, what do you think we're going to see here today?
We finally have a Morph style.
You know,
I feel like all the
would
seeds
love to
recently
see-
have been ignoring Morphs.
I also feel like all of the recent seeds have been quite cursed. I came in a little bit late to the last one that we were watching, but it definitely was an interesting one. And I might have to watch back the VOD for the first 10 minutes or so on that.
Aww.
But sorry, Pikmin, looks like we are getting a speed start today.
It raises my hopes and it increases it instantly.
I am happy to disappoint. But anyway, with the Speed Booster as their first item, our runners will only have one more check available before they go down the main elevator to the sectors. They can check the top of the elevator. Once they get through there, the runners will, unless they find main missile data, screw attack, or charge beam, basically be funneled straight into Sector 2 to open their level 1 security locks. So let us see what we have going on here. Always a little bit of fun to see a speed start, at least, as the runners do have to use a couple of shine sparks up the stairwell. There are a couple of different ways to do this with varying levels of speed. Looks like both of our runners going for the safe 3 shine spark method. And this sync up as our runners are through the speed barrier. Let's see what we find at the main elevator.
E.
I always like to see an E-Tank early. We are running a difficulty 2 seed, but damage runs are turned on, so it is possible that we would need that. And having some energy tanks early can definitely be helpful, especially in a case. Especially as we've seen recently, we actually had one case where our runners had to do a damage run early and did not have enough health for it. Fortunately, that is being vetted for at this point. But let's see what we have behind the cargo. There is a trick that we occasionally get to see here. Oh, Reseren doing a speed jump through the room as Herc doing the more classic Shine Spark across the room. Both of our runners finding their Morph Ball. There is a very precise trick that you can do to jump over that without high jump, but Speed Booster lets you just go right through the cargo, so not a problem there. Actually, the goal of the game is to beat the game. And in order to beat the game, our runners will need to find Charge Beam, Plasma Beam, missiles, as well as opening their level 4 security locks. And for that, they will need Morph Ball, one of Bombs or Screw Attack, Speed Booster, and Gravity Suit. As well, we will need a jump item, either High Jump or a Space Jump to have the SAX spawn. Both of our runners going through Sector 2. Another great reason to have some early energy tanks. Everything in Sector 2 does hit like an absolute truck. And with no energy tanks, the Zoros here do 45 damage, so you take a third hit and you're dead, and you do not have the low health sound on.
Man, this is the second time there's more vanilla bombs that showed up.
Yep.
Reseren being very careful to not have his energy be drained by the Zoros. Zeros. I don't know every name of every enemy in this game. It's weird. And it's why I only know boss names, because you fight bosses more than regular enemies. Oh, and Reseren being unfortunately thwarted by the fact that he picked up a missile upgrade rather than main missiles. Is going to end up finding his supers. Gonna be a little bit upset that he can't use them. So essentially, there's one. I'd say probably one of the only few checks is main deck due to Morph Ball.
Sorry about the delay here. My internet just randomly cut out due to a storm, but I seem to be back up ahead.
Got 11 internet issues.
Over the tracker, it doesn't look like I have missed anything here.
Both of them picked up supers, hence nothing on the tracker being updated. And it seems like both ones are reading my mind sometime into the future, because they are going to main deck to check that one spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely good to have a good idea to go up to main deck here. Since they do have... Oh, they only have supers. They don't have the main missile data, so they're not actually able to use those.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there was nothing there that they would absolutely want, so... Most of them opted to reset entirely. As well, seeming to opt to head into lower 2, as Herc is going to check elsewhere for progression.
Yeah, definitely would love to see some sort of a divergence in the route here. But risky play if our runners decide to go into lower Sector 2 without having a logical way out. But they can get out with ice beam, ice missiles, diffusion missiles, high jump, screw attack, or space jump. So definitely plenty of things they can find down here and plenty of checks. Meanwhile, Herc going for the safer play, going to open level 2 security and check the Telltale Heart check. Just some energy under the floorboard. Herc about to leave it behind, then realizing didn't have a lot of energy left, so probably a good idea. Going up the blocks on the right side would have given him enough space to build up a speed charge if he needed. Building some great muscle memory there. Can definitely tell that all the Dread Herc has been playing is not hurting his fusion play in the slightest. So as far as we know, Reseren may or may not still be in logic with these checks, depending on what we find, but I have to agree with chat that it looks like Herc is definitely making the safer play here.
Mm-hmm. In HP missiles facing supers, yeah, that's it. Fusion is a little bit different than Zero Mission because Zero Mission came after, and the random for Zero Mission is a lot different than Fusion's because Fusion's randomizer was developed a lot later than Zero Mission's randomizer. In the base game, you need both main missile data and main power bombs data in order to. Speaking of main missile data.
Speaking of main missile data, we have that. In Fusion, you do need main missile data to use missiles of any kind, and you need bomb data to use bombs or power bombs, as well as power bomb data to use those. In newer versions of the randomizer, there is a flag where you can set it so that you do not require main missile data. But for the tournament, we are on 0.90 of the randomizer, and that is largely because there were some bugs with newer versions of the randomizer, and then being this deep into the tournament, the decision was made to just stick with the randomizer that the runners have been going on this entire time, especially given that we're already up to winners semifinals here.
Yeah, and also the interface regarding missile upgrades and acquiring main power bombs early has been fixed in later versions, so no need to worry about possibly having the annoying fact that you have a missile upgrade and you can't use it because you don't have main missiles.
Yeah, now Herc, with those super missiles, would have the ability to fight Box. Box not in logic without the charge beam, to my knowledge at this point, but finding some power bombs instead.
All the main data just in this one sector, apparently.
Yeah, Reseren picking up his missile data. Herc curiously not following the power bomb check to check out Lava Maze. Not having an ice source of any kind, I can definitely understand why he's not checking the Nova Stairs. But it looks like his routing is just not acknowledging that he has those power bombs just yet.
That, and also too, he thinks while good is possibly still not a viable choice to check the Sector 3 boiler in its entirety.
But I would ask chat, get your cat jams ready, because I think we are about to get some good music here from a box fight. With supers, the check underbox is in logic, as Herc does have the ability to fight the purple Garon. Opting to take a missile recharge so that he will have enough. With supers, it'll take 10 shots, so he can only miss 5 shots. Any more than 5, and he will soft luck, and that is why we see Herc taking a safety save. Reseren following a little bit behind.
I'm surprised he didn't pick up the vanilla missiles behind the purple Garon. Could give him an additional 5 ammo to not miss.
Yeah. Had he already refilled his missiles going into that room? I'm forgetting what order that went in.
Yeah.
Maybe he just didn't want to sit through that again, but then he would have had 5 more shots. Tough to say what the logic is. Sometimes you just get into the mindset when running this randomizer where you're like, oh, that minor item is going to take too long to pick up. I don't want to pick it up. I know I've certainly been criticized in the past for skipping some missile expansions as well. Let's see what Box had in storage. More missiles. The seed is
What?
saying, no, Herc, you'll take these missiles and you will like it. But the real winner is chat getting to hear our cat jam. Meanwhile, Reseren might be giving us the bomb maze. No, just sparking up the shaft. Both of our runners skipping the couple of power bomb checks. Is he not going to lava maze without Varia and with low health? Not an appealing play.
Aw. And here comes the worst beam of the game.
Hi everyone, Wave Beam has made an appearance. And Herc... Okay, Herc is going back up to get the power bomb lock check above here. I was going to say not any reason to skip this, and it would have been a mistake to forget this. We've got ice missiles. Ice missiles will give Herc a way out of lower sector 4 once he goes down there to open his red blocks, as well as allowing him to sunlock the Omega Metroid. They do weaken the stopping power of the ice missiles against regular enemies, but will also do more damage against bosses.
I think you were referring to SDX when talking about ice missiles and not Omega Metroid.
You know, at this point, I'm just saying words. Some of them are right, some of them aren't. But we do have some more cat jam going on Reseren's screen, just falling a little bit behind her. Have to hope that we will get our runners to get a little bit of a divergence in their route here coming up soon.
Option can take a stage to save, and Sector 1 is likely going to possibly head to Arachnus. And thus I stand corrected.
It looks like Herc wants to pay Arachnus a visit here. There are 5 checks up at Arachnus, as well as he can do 2 more or a number of checks on main deck with those power bombs. So Herc is following the power bombs, just not in the way that I, as a commentator, was hoping for with those Sector 3 checks. I didn't even get a chance to see what was in that room, but Herc doesn't want it, so I'm going to assume that it was nothing of value. Let's see what the animals have to do. The animals just offering an energy tank. Herc saying, no thanks, guys. That's not getting you off the ship today. Everyone who wants Dread to be canon is in shambles right now. But as we see Herc go over to make the 5 checks in the Arachnus area, have to wonder what Reseren is going to do, and if we're going to get divergence. Neither of our runners have given us a check of Sector 1 in the slightest yet, and that is often stacked and has a number of checks as well.
Herc did make a save down there just in case Arachnus had nothing. But it seems Reseren is going to follow the same path and just not save and lower Sector 1.
And chat pointing out that Herc could have picked up that E very quickly. He tends to skip out on energy tanks just to save time. And I know his any percent runs, he only runs with 3 energy tanks. He doesn't typically go for a lot more in Randomizer, just part of the way that he plays. And we'll have to see if there are any required damage runs that are going to have that come back to bite him. Reseren also making a main deck play. Have to assume that he will go up to Arachnus as well. And if he keeps following in Herc's footsteps, that will only keep him behind in the race. Although he does need to go up there, as we have Charge Beam to the left side of Arachnus.
Oh, another Maiden. Okay.
And we've got Diffusion in the maintenance deck, so we are at least in no mode for full missiles as commentators. Reseren's missiles getting a little slower. And Herc deciding to use super missiles to finish off Arachnus, not showing off the power bomb vulnerability.
And the Raptor special was all that was waiting for him.
You know, I'm sure the seed served that up just for you. And our runners do actually have the ability to skip Arachnus when they have Morph Ball. You can just roll out of the room and not fight it. Generally a very weird call to make if you're going up to Arachnus late. Although that can be a way to save some time against the Roly Boy itself. But that does offer a bit of a potential time save. We've seen it a couple times in the tournament, not a very common play, as sometimes you see something like Speed Booster there as well.
West went off to pick up the E-Tank the animals had.
And Reseren also doing what Summer wanted in chat and picking up that energy tank. Herc about to go make his missiles a bit slower. Easier way out of lower 4, but can't imagine Herc is going to be too happy to see these diffusion missiles here. The missiles themselves travel more quickly, but the cooldown between them is a bit slower. Let's see, is Herc going to follow this into making a main reactor play? He will. Freezing the Key Hunter on the way down, making sure that it will not troll him with some damage. Reseren, meanwhile, on his way to go collect his Charge Beam and potentially his Arachnus Special. We did see a rare sight with both runners fighting Yakuza in our previous race here. Let's see if we can get everyone's favorite main deck Spider again. Not to be confused with Arachnus, of course.
Definitely not misnamed.
Everything in this game is named absolutely perfectly, especially everyone's favorite scientist Gary, but we have a major at the main reactor. So it looks like Herc making the play and getting space jump at the reactor 20 minutes in. Herc has to feel like he has a bit of a lead here.
French vanilla.
And with space jump, that will give Herc a way out of the Arachnus room if he chose to make that fight, but with his current only having charge wave and not a ton of missiles, probably making the smarter call not to go for a slow fight against the spider boss. In vanilla game, you would already have wide there, so not having that is definitely a significant reduction.
That's when also getting his Arachnus Special.
And Herc getting trolled by the Key Hunter a little bit on the way out of Yakuza's area.
That's when we likely check down reactor and get his base jump too. Because I don't see him easily ignoring it.
Yeah, it would be a weird choice not to make if you're going to main deck with power bombs. The real question is, will we see Reseren fight Yakuza, or will we even potentially see backdooring into lower sector 2? As Space Jump will put that area into logic. Chat asking both commentators to hydrate. I literally just took a sip of some water here, so we should be good on that.
Thanks for doing the sleeping, chat. Herc is entering Sector 4 and will make every check he possibly can.
Yeah, sometimes we ask if our runners will skip Saris. This is Herculesbenchpress. We are not going to see a Saris skip unless he is in go mode.
A scare sip.
What are words? This is
the English language is wonderful.
It is, in fact, the only language I know well enough to speak. But as far as this goes, this is what happens when you get Autumn out of habit on vacation doing commentary. I say as though I don't mix up my words normally. Reseren also not going to give us a Yakuza fight today. Probably making the smart play, but unfortunately the play that will disappoint chat here.
Like having a bit of trouble trying to forget the power amp. The incorrectly placed power amp in this version.
Let's see, is Herc going to freeze the Kago? He may have gone too far into the room. He has. Herc resetting the room. He wants to freeze this Kago before it can stretch all the way up. Or no, Herc just checking the item and bailing. That's what I get for thinking that I know what he's thinking. Now the real question here is, what do we see Reseren do when he gets down to main deck? Herc has a distinct lead here at this point, but still needing Gravity Suit and Plasma Beam for Go Mode. Those items can be in a lot of places. So having a about 2-minute lead, I would say, can evaporate very quickly when one runner makes the correct check and the others don't. We did see in the previous race that our runners had different Go Mode items, which can happen in Randomizer sometimes. And one of them just so happened to have the Go Mode item that opened more checks, and thus gave more wrong answers of where they could look.
When heading into Sector 1, finally making its debut appearance.
It's not very often that we get 24 minutes into a seed and are just seeing Sector 1 for the first time. With the Wave Beam, we may see Reseren decide to backdoor Charge Core, or we may see him go through the full loop and just go the regular way around if he's planning on making all of the checks. Variant Suit, not going to make any changes about that, but will be nice to have, especially if our runners need to dip into Sector 6 with the Ice X. And the Ouch Room holding a major over in Sector 4. We'll see if this pays off for Herc. Herc getting High Jump and Jump Ball. Not required as our runners have Space Jump, but Space Jump without High Jump is kind of cursed. And so this is definitely going to make it more pleasant to play. Meanwhile, Lava Dive having an energy tank and a power bomb. And let's see what is underneath.
Another PB.
Someone decided they wanted to incinerate their trash by throwing it at the bottom of the Lava Dive, but it did not melt. And Herc lowering the pump control, finding another major. Just making all of the plays here, and we have Screw Attack. It is adventure time, Herc. Come on, bring your friends. Herc now has opened up
distant space stations.
Herc has opened up so many potential checks. If Go Mode is locked behind Screw Attack, this is good. If Go Mode is not locked behind Screw Attack, Herc might be checking in all of the wrong places. RNG Hater saying that Ridley's area is in fact open. And you know, it is possible we could find Plasma down there and then have, dare I say, Gravity on Ridley. And I agree with you, Linkshot, that Herc has Ridley going into Logic, Reseren has Sector 5 going into Logic, and neither of those are fun. Sector 5 especially has a number of checks, but they're all pretty spread out. With power bombs, at least you can do the whole circuit at once. And Herc giving us a Ceres fight. Having Charge Wave, he would no longer be able to two-shot with his beam, so he's going to opt to use the Super Missiles to get the two-shot kill. Getting the optimal Ceres pattern here, and we'll get onto Speed Port quickly. And I'm gonna say Ceres is nothing.
Yep.
And the seed is going to agree with me. Ceres is, as I always say, never worth it.
Until it is, was it?
But Herc's still finding some good options in Sector 4. We'll have to see if that Screw Attack pays off for him. Definitely helpful to have in the SAX fight, though. as if he drops the stun lock for any reason, that can help prevent him from taking damage from Ice Core. Meanwhile, Reseren giving us a Charge Core fight.
Nope.
And just an energy tank there. None of our bosses giving anything today. Reseren will have the Crab Rave check here. But Sector 1 might be a little barren compared to what we usually have. All that Reseren has left to check in this sector would be Baby's first wall jumps. Ironic that he has space jumps, so he cannot do wall jumps in that room. And just waiting for the door to open. I have to imagine that Herc also is going into Sector 1, but he may just have his signal drop out from us.
Oh, oof.
Oh no.
Oh, oof. Oof.
Herc's game just crashed.
Ouch, and there's plasma beam too. Ouch. That is not a good sign for Herc right now. Ouch. Ouch. You definitely hate to see it happen.
Yeah, but it looks like Herc is going to continue here. Just working on loading back up the game. Meanwhile, Reseren, only one item away from go mode. Just needing to find Gravity Suit, which we know does have the ability to be now on Ridley. And Reseren with 9 energy tanks going to take a bit of a lava bath in order to get out of Sector 1.
Looks like he lost screw attack. He's gonna have to definitely get it back.
Yeah, Herc will definitely want to get that back. Fortunately, not a ton of items in Sector 4. We had screw attack and... I'm forgetting what the other major we found there was. Was that ice missiles? No, we already had ice missiles.
It was like the diffusions.
High jump. Thank you, Summer.
Oh yeah, you're fine.
I imagine Herc will spend the time to pick high jump back up. Definitely will spend the time to get screw attack, though.
Reseren heading into Sector 6.
Yeah. And with power bombs, he can still check the entire sector, as well as following that Varia suit. So I think Sector 6 is a good play, especially the first 2 checks of Sector 6 have a very high chance of being majors in what we've observed here. And speak of, we have Wide Beam as the first check in Sector 6. Wide Beam, the one item in the game that does not logically open up anything. But
when did Reseren get plasma? Yes.
Reseren got plasma just a couple minutes ago. It was at Baby's first wall jump behind the save station in Sector 1. And Herc has not gone into Sector 1 at all. Did have a crash in his system, but is continuing to go. At this point, it is very difficult to say which player is ahead right now, though. Herc needs 2 items, and Reseren just needs 1, but this is Randomizer, and anything could happen.
Definitely.
Especially if Herc manages to find Gravity Suit and then backdoor Sector 1, that could save him some time that Reseren spent on clearing the whole sector. Of course, we as commentators always are going to hope that Gravity is on Ridley, or I also wouldn't mind a vanilla Gravity. Those are also some fun troll seeds.
We did have vanilla Gravity once.
We did indeed. And it looks like Herc will be going into, I believe this was Sector 1.
Yeah.
So he'll be finding his plasma beam in short order. I think that does put Reseren back in the lead. And of course, as a commentator, I am always rooting for a Game 3, so if Reseren takes this, we will go to Game 3. And as a reminder, the winner of this match will go on to Winners Finals against Lenofis. The loser of this match will go on to play against, in lower bracket, one of Kaede Rukawa, FPiz, or myself.
Technically, it's actual semifinals. Because again, winner of semifinals is staying in this bracket for reasons.
Well, there's winners semis, and then it calls it semis, but at least in most fighting game communities I've seen, you just call it winners finals. But a little bit of a difference in terminology. Either way, though, Herc picking up his Varia suit. Wonder if that'll cue him in to go to Sector 6 or Sector 5. And Reseren showing us that aside from that wide beam, Sector 6 looking pretty barren so far. Herc will pick up Plasma Beam on the way in. And that will speed up his Sector 1 just a little bit, as he can now use charged plasma shots to take out the stabilizers rather than having to go up close and personal with the screw attack. RNG Hater is correct. Crumble City is now in Logic. We also have the logical possibility for the Zazabi Speedway. And honestly, we've not seen a ton of Sector 2 here, but our runners may want to respect Sector 2. At this point, we're looking at probably Sector 2 or Sector 5 for Go Mode. Or we could see Gravity at one of the Power Bomb lock checks in Sector 3 that both of our runners skipped.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, we've probably got a long one on our hands, because I don't think we'll be seeing them go back there anytime particularly soon. You know what, Pikmin? I will pass over to you. Where do you think we're going to find Gravity? Make the hard read today.
Lower one and not unwittingly.
Alright, do we think it's going to be Animorphs, or are you calling the Ripper Room?
Probably Ripper Room.
You know what? I want something a little trolly. I'm going to go for Gravity in the mini fridge. I think that will be a nice treat for the audience here. And Reseren going to early 4, just finding a missile tank there. Can't decide in the community if we want to call it upper 4, lower 4, beginning of 4. It's somewhere in Sector 4. And Reseren going to find high jump and screw attack soon. Have to imagine with his loadout that he will also give us a Ceres fight. We know that won't pay off, he does not. But hey, that would be enough to fill out his bottom row of energy tanks. And Herc stalling with a couple of space jumps above Charge Core to make sure that he has time to get down and take it out with one missile shot as the eye is opening. Cryhard, we are currently at 2 cores that have been fought. We've had Charge Core and Charge Core, so that is 1 core. Or, no, any
Charge
cores,
and
not just
Ceres.
green cores. We've had Charge, we've had Ceres, we have had Morph Core, so 3 cores. And both of our runners just going through territory we've already seen. Reseren about to get a high jump. Doing a very fun randomizer thing where you roll into a room. You already have it in your head that that check is not going to be anything. You leave, and as you're transitioning out of the room, you're like, oh no, that was a major. I have to go back in.
Yeah, we had very core. Nobody's Yeah, both wanted to check practice, never mind.
Thank you for that link shot. Go figure, the person in the room with me paying more attention than the commentator herself. And Reseren going underneath the pump control, picking up the screw attack, and let's see. With Space Jump and Screw Attack, I'm wondering when we're going to get to see the Crumble City. I don't think anything valuable will be there, but we've seen it before. We have in fact had a recent seed where main bombs and main power bomb data were both in Crumble City.
Going to shortly pick up his wide beam. So the only things left are Gravity Suit and Ice Beam.
Yeah, we are going dangerously close to Oops All Majors here. Not going to find any majors on Ceres. And Herc, not likely to find anything of value in Sector 6.
But just checking, I can't believe it's not Sector 6.
And I can believe it's a power bomb tank. Reseren with a much better beam than Herc had going into the Ceres fight, using a charge shot and then a super missile to finish it off.
Crumbles, you want it? It's yours, my friend. As long as you have enough jumps.
And at this point, I really would love us to see an Ice Beam here. I think having Oops All Majors would be very nice. But both of our runners making very quick progress through this seed. We can definitely see where, how these two have made it to the winner's side semifinals. And we actually, in the predictions on the bracket site, have these runners at 50-50 on who the community thinks will win the series. So, very even matchup between two of the best in the game. And the real question is just, who makes the right call and finds their gravity suit first?
Basically.
I would love to see the runners give us a Sector 5 check. Just Sector 5 doesn't get enough love in Randomizer. I say as a person who habitually avoids Sector 5.
But I was forgetting that he could check Crumble City now.
And going to save at the entrance to Sector 2. So we're probably going to see a dive into lower Sector 2 here. And then if there is nothing by the time he gets to Zazabi Speedway, just reset out. Also going to give us the 2-to-1 connector. And just a missile tank at the top of Sector 1.
Oh, almost space boost through an entire room.
Yeah, Hero Gabe, I have had that happen before. I've actually had my main missiles be at Bob instead of just a missile expansion. But Randomizer definitely likes to put things in some fun places. And Herc resetting out of lower Sector 6, coming back in for Wide Beam, definitely worth the time expenditure. We've seen Wide Beam make the difference in a race before, just with how much it can speed up the ending bosses. And unfortunately for chat, Crumble is dead. But we do still have the Zazabi Speedway.
We still have possible Whitley.
We could also have it on Yakuza and have both runners feeling very bad if they find it there, that they could have found it about 20 minutes earlier. We could have Ridley, we could have near Ridley. There are many options, and gravity can only be at one of them. And we just need to be happy here that, for once, Randomizer has decided not to give us a plasma hunt. Her giving us our first Sector 5 check here. Taking a look at the front item in the speed trap, with Sector 5 not being destroyed, he is not able to check the back item, although if he opens level 3 locks, and we have to assume he will here, that will break the sector, as that will fulfill the condition of having Speed Booster, Wave Beam, High Jump Boots, and level 3 locks open. The other way, of course, being to have Gravity, Speed Booster, and High Jump. And Reseren going to give us yet another core. We have Zazabi on screen. This boss will take 10 hits to kill. Doesn't matter what you hit it with. You just need to get 10 hits on it. And Zazabi can give anywhere between, I believe, 6 and 12 jumps, so very unforgiving RNG heavy boss. Reseren not getting too bad of a Zazabi pattern though. And Linkshot, that is such a niche reference that I'm not even sure what you mean by that, to be completely honest. And her going down to the very bottom of Sector 5. Now checking the item above the data room. I wanted to curse a runner with an item up here recently, but just some missiles there today.
Double red exported from a cargo, therefore it's not funnies. Also because it's not me intentionally pointing it out.
And I have to assume with this loadout we're going to see Reseren give us a Nettery fight. And of course, already proving me right before I could even get the words out of my mouth. Nettery, for anyone in chat who is not familiar, the only boss in the game that will take damage from power bombs. However, the optimal strat here, if you have charged plasma and wide, is to just, and space and screw, is to just go above it and shoot down. The beam will do damage for every frame it is inside the hitbox, and that is a very tall enemy. And we have Gravity Suit on Nettery, and
oh my!
Reseren at 46 minutes and 18 seconds in Go mode. All he needs to do is go open his red locks and go finish the game. And it's hard to imagine her catching up at this point.
Yeah, this is the second time the toy. This is the second time the toys held a Go mode item.
Yeah, go figure. What are the odds of having 2 races in a row where at least one runner finds a Go mode item on Notori? And not just a Go mode item, but the Go mode item. And have to agree with chat that this is very likely to be going to a Game 3. Barring something absolutely crazy happening on Reseren's end. I guess one consolation here is that despite her having that system crash, it doesn't look like that will be the thing that will cost the race here, just with the amount of time that he'll need to make up on Reseren at this point. And also with Go Gravity being on Notori, everyone who was looking for a location unfortunately did not get our wishes fulfilled. The Ice Beam on Ridley Dream is still alive, but we're not likely to find out.
Yeah.
I guess unless whoever made the seed wants to check the spoiler log, but that would be a bit of an odd request at this point.
Oh look, double red X. That's not from a. That's not from a cargo. Could have been from two separate enemies, but who knows? I wasn't tracking.
Yeah, either way, seeing 2 red X not from a cargo or a space pirate, always a good event to see. And a big question becomes, which way does Reseren choose to leave lower sector 4? I believe the consensus is that going out through the damage water in the early sector, just going across lower sector 4 is slightly faster than going up and using screw attack out.
I don't
Congratulations on your double bingo, Cry Hard.
Were there any items tucked behind PBs?
Any items locked behind PBs? That is a great question. I can't think of anything. Our runners, in fact, did not give us many of our PB. I guess we did have in main reactor. I forget what was up there right now.
Space jump, yeah.
Space jump. Space jump, I guess, not technically required, so it was our runner's first jump. I'm not sure if we want to count that as an important major locked behind power bombs, but, you know, I would say that if you have it on your bingo card, I'd give it to you. Meanwhile, what Herc is going to give to us is a nightmare fight. Diving down here without gravity, so he will just reset out when he sees that Nightmare is not vanilla today and will not give him what he's looking for.
Linkshot pointing out that screw attack to deploy to get gravity suit to come back. Screw attack is possible, was more than possible to get to Nitoy, so PBs weren't required.
Always appreciate having Linkshot in chat. He is very good at following the logic chains, and that is totally, absolutely the only reason I appreciate having him in chat. But I would say if it's PBs are required, I would say PBs are not required on the bingo card. As our runners could have just gotten their high jump boots in Sector 4 and finished the seed without space jump. And nothing here was space jump locked.
Yeah, be glad you still have a bingo.
You know, I think I'm one of the few people who has yet to jump on the bingo train here. And Reseren, a top speedrunner of this game, not going to have any trouble here against the SAX, getting the diagonal shots to allow the beam to pass more through the hitbox for more frames, and thus finish off phase 1 quicker, just 2 shots to take out the most cursed Hornode in the game. And now we need 6 of these fully powered missiles to hit the ice core in order to take it out. And with the fusions, I have trouble deciding, but we do have a diffusion double for anyone asking about that on your bingo card in chat. And propulsion sequence has been activated. 3 minutes to impact with SR388. And let's see if we are going to get a low height or wonder if Reseren... Oh, we have Ice Beam.
Yep, there it is.
Ignored on the check that I was upset at both of our runners for skipping earlier in the game. Thank you, Herc, for finding our Ice Beam for us.
And that's all beams.
That is all beams and all majors. Although neither runner individually got all majors, unless Herc manages to find Gravity Suit, but Herc will typically forfeit out as soon as he sees that his opponent is done, just in the interest of time. Meanwhile, Reseren giving us the low height into the Omega Metroid, validating this run. Those missiles aren't doing much against the Omega Metroid there, though, friend. Meanwhile, Herc down to 550 health, going through to check out the Sector 3 lava maze. That is, of course, the only relevant health value that we have here. Finding a missile at the lava maze, and Herc is going to give us a sighting of Imposter Professor Oak. He will, in fact, potentially make Reseren discard his hand and draw 7 new cards. Does anyone have the Pokemon TCG reference square on your bingo card? Because if you do, I just gave that to you. And get your GGs in chat. We will be going to Game 3 as Reseren finishing with an official racetime.gg time of 54 minutes and 8 seconds. And we have definitely brought some good Metroid Fusion action here today. Not sure when we will be getting Race 3, if that will be continuing on from this, or if that will be scheduled at another time.
I'm sure it gets scheduled sometime later, because right now, SpeedGaming staff is a little bit everywhere with so many stuff happening today.
It looks like we are about to be joined by Reseren. And speaking of, GG Reseren. How are you feeling about pushing this to a Game 3?
I was really worried at the end, because I thought Herc was like right behind me. Because I figured he would have done Notori earlier, so like the very last 10 minutes I was just like nervous as hell.
Yeah, what are the odds of Notori having the Go Mode item 2 seeds in a row, at least for one runner?
Oh man, I don't know. That's out of this world.
And we are also being joined by Herculesbenchpress. GG Herc.
Thanks. I didn't finish, but thanks.
That's okay.
It was a good race, Rez.
Yeah, it was.
At least you gave us our Ice Beam. I was in a bit of shambles as you two both went past the stretchy room in the middle of Sector 3 on your way up to Box, right after getting power bombs. And turns out, for Reseren's info, there was Ice Beam there. So we did see all majors here on stream.
I'm honestly sad. Like, about 25 minutes in, my one thought that I had was like, I probably should fight Notori. I'm like, I just the thought, I was like, well, he had speed booster last time. I'm like, I wonder if he's gonna have gravity this time. And I was like, I'll put it off. It's it's a big time sink. Let me look at the other places, and I cleared 5 and 3, and then of course Notori had it.
Didn't help that the game crashed.
Yeah, whatever. I lost. Well, I mean, after where I'm at right now, I was going to be going right to Sector 2 anyway. So, like, total time that was kind of lost there, I probably would have gotten there, but it wouldn't have mattered in the long run, I don't think. I messed around too much, and I made too many bad calls. And just cleaning up different areas that, didn't have it.
Yeah, definitely one of the times where doing the very thorough and coherent routing that you do sometimes can be costly if the check is just the one out-of-the-way check, but definitely a great showing from both of you today. The Sector 5 check did make a lot of sense here. I had a point that I was going to make, and it has left the building. So I guess the big question that everyone is looking for is, do we know when Game 3 is going to be?
Not today.
Probably next weekend, I think.
Yeah.
We still have some time because of the lower bracket anyway.
Yeah, the loser bracket definitely needs to catch up.
Yeah, lower bracket a bit behind. Of course, just to remind the chat, winner of this matchup will go on in winners finals against Lenofis. The loser of this match will drop down into the lower bracket where we don't have the next opponent set up. It'll be one of Kaide Rikawa, FPiz, or myself. So
Speaking of
definitely-
which, we have a both of Kaide and FPiz matches set up, both at the same exact time, 11:40 Eastern Time. One on Monday and one on Tuesday.
Excellent. We had a little bit of a drought of Metroid Fusion content with Dread coming out, and I, for one, am happy to see more Metroid Fusion coming back onto the calendar.
I can't wait for a week from now when I get back to focusing on Dread and practicing that. I come back and my movement is just as bad as it was in the first game, in the first match.
I'm gonna be honest, when I was getting warmed up for my last matches, I play using a Super Nintendo controller. I tried to tap in the left stick to speed boost in Fusion, and got very confused when there's not a left stick to tap in.
I've tried to unmorph several times in the first match by pressing the left trigger. I was like, oh, right, I can't unmorph instantly. Problems.
The cons of playing newer and better games that have a lot more better features than a game released 19 years ago.
I mean, it just has more buttons, but yeah.
Yeah, Fusion definitely manages to do a lot with just the few buttons, although we may be a little bit biased here given that we all speedrun this game for whatever reason.
And also the fact that could be a wide A button.
They're both good.
Yeah, and chat, do we have any questions for our runners that you would like to have us follow up on? That is looking like a no. I'm going to just look forward. Herc, you are being asked to hydrate.
Okay.
Surprisingly, it's not Pixie.
Is it Cry Hard?
It is Cry Hard.
Ah. Okay, then. All right. I mean, I can. I'm just out of water right now. I've got ice.
I think we can let you get to that in just a moment here. That should be fine. I'm just looking over at the calendar, and we have a lot of assorted games coming on SpeedGaming the rest of the evening. Coming up at 7 Eastern, we have some Super Metroid Randomizer, Super Metroid Any Percent, and Pepsi Man on the schedule. We have some Wind Waker later tonight, Link to the Past, SMB 3 Randomizer at 9 o'clock Eastern, Zelda 2 Randomizer at 10 Eastern. We've got some Mario Kart 64 coming up this evening. So, if anybody is looking for more races, we don't have more Metroid Fusion for you today, but we have a lot else going on. We also have Azure Dreams going on SpeedGaming 2 right now. Looks like it started a half hour ago. With that said, I will pass over Herc, Reseren. Any finishing thoughts here?
I can't believe my winning streak has come to an end.
I don't know. It could happen all within the next week or so. It could still happen.
You were the last undefeated runner in the tournament, so
Yeah.
disappointing to see. There was a part of me that was hoping to hand you that first
2,
defeat
4,
in Grand
6,
at some point.
8. Oh man, if I would have won this one, it would have been 10 wins in a row, including the rematches I did with Army.
9-1's still pretty good, though.
It's not bad for sure.
Yeah, definitely one of. I mean, you're in winner semis, so definitely one of the favorites to go all the way in this.
Fingers
Both
crossed.
of you are. I
I
was
gotta
looking
get
at the
past
challenge
Reseren,
bracket. 50-50 in the voting on who wins this series.
Honestly, going into this, I knew I was like, yeah, I'm definitely not, I'm either gonna get O2'd or I'm gonna lose at least one to Reseren because he's just that good.
Yeah, it's too bad that we can't do Memco anymore.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You'd probably have a bit more of an advantage in that, since I haven't done like memory corruption all too much recently.
Yeah, honestly, one thing I was thinking, game one, I wasn't on commentary, but Herc, you had all of the tools to clip in without speed to level 4 locks, and I was thinking if Reseren had that same layout or loadout, we might have seen that clip.
Honestly, I was thinking he might, and I was like anxiously looking at the timer. I was like, please tell me that he didn't clip.
Yeah, I thought that, and I was like, oh man, I just need speed, and I can just bypass everything. But then we got gravity suit early, so it didn't really matter anyway. I would have still had to look for plasma in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we will certainly look forward to game 3 between the two of you. Going to be some excellent Metroid Fusion play, but with that, anything else before we hand back over to SpeedGaming?
GG Riz.
GG.
And with that, chat, make sure you follow our runners. We have their information here. They put on some great shows, both in the tournament and otherwise. And if you are interested in seeing more of this, we have a very open and welcoming community at the Metroid Fusion Community Discord, where we can help you get set up, answer some questions, and maybe even do some casual races. But with that, I have been Autumn Out of Habit with the great Pikmin ZX789 on commentary, and we will see you next mission.
Pepsi Man!